Hi there, it's Diane Mireles with Visions and Traditions Realty. We're doing our Tidbit Tuesday, recorded a little bit differently today. I guess with the weather, the live feed did not seem to go through correctly. So we're going to try this, and I do apologize to those of you that were watching. It was good to see you, and hopefully next week will be better. As you can see, I am doing this from my house today. I've got a washer repairman here fixing my clothes washer. It's been one heck of a week. I decided to clean a chandelier right here in the dining room, and I don't know what I did to it. Something happened, because now every time you turn it on, it blows a breaker and blows out the whole side of the house. So now I've got to have an electrician out for that. And even the first electrician said that it's inside the chandelier. So, oh great, that's just wonderful. But anyway, the good news is I've got windows and I've got other lights. So it's not like the house is dark. Anyhow, let's see, today I wanted to talk to you, give you a little story. Like I told you that we're going to share a little funny every week from the world of real estate. I just get so tickled. Was having lunch with a group of agents that I used to work with, and we start talking and laughing, and we share stories, and it's just comical, some of the things that we've done and that we've been through. And one of them, a friend of mine, Angela Reagan, who is with UTR Realtors, was talking about the first time, well, not the first time, but way back when she started in real estate. And when she was a baby realtor, let's put it that way, and she had a buyer that she was working with, and she had shown them numerous houses, and it was a young man and his wife and their child, and and he kept referring to this woman as his wife. You know, he needed to talk to his wife, he needed to do this, whatever. And so the day of closing comes around, and they get to the closing. They're at the title company, walk in to sit down and close, and as the closer slides paper over to him, the gentleman leans back and looks at Angela and says, "This isn't my wife." Angela about had a stroke right then and there. So Angela, being Angela, she's kind of comical. She looks at him and she said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, this isn't my wife. My wife is at home." And she said, "But you've been calling her your wife, and you introduced her as your wife." And he said, yes, he knew, but it wasn't really his wife. So Angela said, "Well, you will go get your wife, and you will sign on these papers, and you will close on this house today, because we're not going to be involved in a situation called fraud." The gentleman went home, got his real wife, brought her back to the table, to the closing office, or to the title company at the table, and he sat down and signed the papers, and so did his real wife. And the other wife, I don't know, he had a lot of explaining to do after the closing. So I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that one. But if you've got any funny stories like that in the real estate world, share them with us, and I will share them on our Tuesdays. And it's just so comical, some of the things that happen to us and that we go through. It's kind of like the Reader's Digest version of when they do their little jokes and everything. So anyway, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about bad credit and trying to lease something. Situations come up and people try to lease, and for whatever reason run into a problem. Somebody pulls their credit, and all of a sudden they've got bad credit. Now, realistically, they knew they had bad credit. They knew that something had happened. They knew that they were in a situation before the credit check even went through. So this kind of goes to those people. You need to understand things happen and it's okay. People get in situations and credit goes bad, and it's life. It just happens. So what we want to address to you and to any real estate agents representing you or representing landlords, to maybe take things a little bit further for this person. For example, if you're in this situation, what you might want to do is get a grantor or get somebody to co-sign for you and ask the landlord if they would be good with that. And if they're good with that, then situation solved. Your family's not going to be homeless. You just need to get somebody that's got good credit. But that doesn't mean that you don't try to get your stuff cleared up and eventually be able to lease on your own. You do. You work on it and you get it straightened out. And the other thing is, no matter what, you want to be honest. And as things are progressing, you want to share the progression with your real estate agent. You want to share, and that real estate agent wants to share the progression with the other real estate agent that's representing the owner of the house, the landlord. So be honest about your situation. Talk to them about the progression. Talk to them about what you've done. Talk to them about what is in the process, and talk to them about what you plan on doing. Another possible answer to a situation would be getting a roommate. It's a good thing, maybe. Now here, when you fill out a lease agreement, everybody over the age of 18 has to fill one out. So, and everybody over the age of 18 actually becomes responsible for that property. So when you go to get a roommate, be sure that that roommate understands that there could be a chance that, the responsibility is going to fall on their shoulders. It is a good option. And be sure it's somebody that you want to live with. I mean, goodness gracious, you don't want somebody in the house that is going to get on your nerves. The other thing would be, show that you've got a solid income. Show the owner or the landlord your paycheck stubs, your bank deposits. Show them that you've got a solid income coming in for the past year. Tell them that you will do direct deposits on the rent, so that will be a warm fuzzy for them and they know that they will be getting their money. Oh, I hate to say this one. You might want to throw in a little extra something there. Tell the homeowner, hey, look, you see I make a lot of money. You see I'm in this jam. Let me pay $100 a month more. And the landlord may feel open to that, and that may be your avenue to getting around your situation. I know paying more just stinks, but you might have to. The other thing is, sometimes you've got some money in the bank. Offer to pay 6 months at the time of move-in, or a year of rent money at the time of move-in. You're covered for a year, or you're covered for 6 months, and maybe that's the thing that the landlord will go, oh wow, they are serious, they are trying to make it good, and they'll be willing to overlook whatever your situation is. Another example would be for you to bring recommendations with you. And a recommendation is always a good thing. Bring letters from, probably you've leased before, or maybe you've owned a home before. Bring documentation or a letter from a previous landlord that shows that you paid on time, that shows this landlord that what you're telling them is the truth. and what you're saying is that you really are, you are a good person. Everybody's good people, but your intent is to pay, and your intent is to make things right. And a good example is sometimes people get involved in medical situations and they get a whole bunch of medical bills, and then all of a sudden they get caught up and they get behind, and one thing leads to another. But letters of recommendation, even from your boss, even if your boss will give you a letter of recommendation, it may help. And these things that I'm telling you, prepare yourself in advance. This is, you're going to do these things, or what some of these things. Get your letters, get your story, get all of this, all of your documentation, get it ready in advance. And so when you submit that lease or that offer to lease, the intent to lease that property, submit that along with the lease agreement or your intent, because that landlord is going to run your credit check and they are going to run a background check on you. So again, it goes back to being honest and upfront. That pretty much covers it for today. And for tips on leasing, if you've got yourself caught in a couple little scenarios, I wish you luck if this happens, and get with somebody who can help you, give you the advice to get you out of this mess or that scenario that you've gotten yourself into. And just want to shout out to our favorite caterer, Cultivate, Leanne and Andy Patterson, here local in Friendswood. Also want to shout out to Melanie Hinsdale, who is the marketing director for Excel Title, and will be hosting a mandatory continuing education class, Legal 2, next Thursday at Excel Title. And so if you need some credits, give her a call or get a hold of me and I'll give you her number and RSVP. We're looking forward to it, and as always, I've enjoyed talking with you. I hope you found this information beneficial and look forward to next week. Thank you so much for your patience on that previous video with this weather and internet connections. See you next week, and happy Mother's Day!